Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Welcome to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings.
Hello, and welcome back to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast for episode 8. Later in the episode, we will be having Jeremy from Nicolas Rage joining us. But before that, we're going to do our usual little spiel on some things going on in the scene. We're recording this on April 28th. So, as everybody will know, by the time this comes out, it'll probably be old news by then. But Bamboozle was canceled today. And we also have some exciting announcements that happened in the revival realm. So we'll discuss those too. But first, we'll talk about Amanda's favorite line I saw was, who got bamboozled by Bamboozle?
Yeah, dude. I keep seeing people say their first mistake was calling your festival Bamboozle. And I'm like... As if it wasn't already a festival, like, over a decade ago. You're not funny.
A successful one at that.
Yeah. I heard that it's a different person. It wasn't the original people that put on the festival. I'm not positive, though. I really have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so from what I was seeing, it was all permit issues.
Well,
but
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked because it was announced in 2021, right? Or even earlier than that it was coming out. Like, how do you just not, I mean, given, I don't know anything, but like, how do you just not give the permits?
Wouldn't that be the first thing that you secure?
Yeah.
It had to have been more. It had to have been. It had to have been more than that, I think.
They would have had to, if you're smart, you would have had the permits before you even announced it. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And I feel like at least heard rumors about it like way before it was even announced, or at least maybe in the industry or in the scene or whatever, people were kind of just talking about them trying to bring it back. It is a huge bummer for all of those smaller bands that were supposed to play that like planned routing out there.
A lot of local bands that were set up,
Also just a week before. Like, I know it's not like, Morgan Wallen canceling his show 6 minutes before it starts.
Okay, so I have a lot of feelings about the Morgan Wallen thing.
We all have a lot of feelings.
This is something that I've had in my brain for... Yeah, so this has been in my tweet drafts, and I haven't tweeted it because I'm sure that there's something that I'm missing. Obviously, Morgan Wallen is a problematic, racist, whatever. I don't like him as a person, but I'm not defending him in the slightest. But it makes sense to me that Morgan Wallen's fan base is the least understanding fan base of someone canceling a show, presumably... allegedly for a medical reason for losing his voice. I know the dude sucks, but come on, if he genuinely didn't have a voice, would you rather he just stand up there with his thumb up his ass?
Yeah, losing his voice, or was he drunk and didn't have a voice?
Because that's what was being said. So,
like I said, he could have canceled it for any slew of reasons if he was drunk, whatever. If anything, that's a little bit sad and people should be concerned for him. But regardless, even if he just said that he lost his voice and his fans immediately were like, I'm suing you. Like, what the hell?
There was this one lady that was like, I want to be paid back for my hotels and the outfit I bought and my Cracker Barrel receipt.
You would. God damn. The jokes are too easy.
They do write themselves, though, those jokes. And it was just funny. I mean, it sucks, but...
I specifically remember that her husband's outfit was more expensive than her outfit.
Yes.
Which,
yes.
Whenever is that the case?
That's not.
Yeah. I mean, it does suck because they went through, like, the openers, and I heard that his merch got sold out at the show and everything else, so people spending all, he's getting his money that way still. But if you look at it, they just saw two openers. I think Hardy was with him, and then maybe someone else. I'd have to go back and look. And
he was like, one beer turns into, and then it like literally turns into way too drunk.
But they're all getting refunds. They just saw those
which is
two
surprising, and they saw those two other, and as if, what's the difference? I'm saying this as, like, with the acknowledgement that Morgan Wallen is a huge artist. I'm not worried about his money or anything. Yeah. These people are complaining that they spent money on the merch as if they wouldn't go buy the Morgan Wallen t-shirt from Target. Like, they would have bought the t-shirt anyway, but now they're mad because he canceled the show.
They also bought a 37-track CD, so just, putting that one out there. They got that time. They got time to wait.
It's like
they
the peak...
got time.
It's just a fan base that you would fully expect to react the way that they did. That's all I'm saying. And another thing, every time I see a woman throwing hands in the pit of an arena show, it's a Morgan Wallen concert.
That is true. That is very
true. There's a pit at the Morgan Wallen concert?
No, when I say
not
pit,
like
I mean like the standing room, not like the mosh pit.
I was like, there's a pit?
I'm like, no, that is true. There's a lot of TikTok videos of women just like brawling.
Clenching their jaw real bad, and there's a lot going on. Anyway, Bamboozle.
We'll segue back into Bamboozle. But yeah, I think it's a week before, like, very, very.
I mean, telling. Okay, it's a week before. It like they gave them time. They gave them a week, but also like it's a week.
That's still bad.
I would be so
mad.
I
imagine the permits had to be due way before, just a week before, right?
Yeah,
I mean.
So my thing, when this was announced, people seemed, it was like people were already skeptical about When We Were Young Fest and skeptical about all these other festivals that were trying to happen. So I feel like people were kind of just dunking on it to dunk on it. But I guess the person that was putting it on, people didn't really trust. I have no idea. I haven't been involved in the Jersey scene in that capacity to know who this person was, but people seemed to be not shocked that this happened. So
wasn't there like issues with tickets too, or am I making that up in my head?
Well, I saw someone say that they had to buy an NFT. What is that about?
Oh, there was. I remember vaguely, like months ago, there being NFTs involved, something with Bamboozle, but I don't know the details of it. But there was some NFT stuff, but I'm not sure if they had to buy one in order to get a ticket, or if that was just like an option. But I did see a headline, and I should have read the article before we hopped on here. It was like, but just the headline was like, fan complaints and refunds are what like took down Bamboozle. So, but like, I can't imagine they were allowing refunds. So I don't know how that would...
I don't think, maybe, because I know somebody big canceled, or was like threatening to, I don't know. I obviously wasn't paying as much attention as I should before the cancellation. I just remember seeing it and just thinking, wow, glad I didn't buy those tickets, and moved on. So
I am so happy, because I was telling Courtney earlier, I said, I have Breakaway this weekend, which is in North Carolina. And I was like really truly debating. I was like, do I go to Bamboozle instead, because it's closer to Boston and it sounds like a lot more fun. But then I was like, no, I've already had these tickets for like months. I'm just gonna go.
Back in the day, I said this in our like the company-wide group chat earlier, but back in the day I saw Bamboozle back in the day at Bamboozle, I saw Alisana and Bon Jovi on the same day. And it was the first time I met a bunch of them like as a fan too. So it was a very insane day for
Bamboozle.
Like 17-year-old me.
Bamboozle, truly, I have some of my core memories as a teenager at, and my mom, when I was graduating high school, and I'm not going to say what year that was, but she was like, you can go to Bamboozle and get like the top tier package, or you can go to the Olympics. And my teenage ass was like, I want to go to Bamboozle. Why would I go to the Olympics? Why would I go see the Olympics in Europe? No. And so I went, and it was one of the best days ever, honestly. Best weekends.
Yeah, I always went with my I went 1 year with my mom, and my concert buddy, my cousin Kyle, that I've mentioned on this podcast before, is who took me the rest of the time. But my mom wanted to see Bon Jovi. My mom wanted to see Bon Jovi that year because she was a Bon Jovi girl. So
Yes, as we've talked about, big Bon Jovi.
1 year they had Journey too. They had like was it
Yeah.
actually Journey or a Journey cover band? And then
So-
my God, when Drake wasn't Drake yet, and he was also there, and that was wild.
So the Journey thing, back in the day when Journey was playing, I genuinely thought that it was Journey because I was like 15, 16 years old and didn't know any better. And then found out by interacting with the Bamboozle Twitter account, like this now defunct Bamboozle, they revealed to me that it wasn't the real Journey. And now that's the other sketchy thing. Bamboozle deleted all of their social media accounts. They just dropped the announcement and ran.
Very
Yep,
Fyre
I
Festival.
said that to E earlier
I was just
when
thinking
she
that.
sent the announcement, and then I clicked on it. I go, well, there's not a single other post available.
Mm.
So,
Wait, do we know what
and
happened to the website? Is the website
Turned
still
off the
up?
comments, which
I'm
is, I mean,
looking.
understandable. A lot of it's just you're just gonna get hate. Nobody's gonna.
Yeah,
be
I
nice
understand
in the
turning off the comments, but that poor social media manager. Well, I mean, if it's at the point where it's canceled, I'm sure they don't have a hired
Okay.
social media manager anymore.
Oh
A social
my
media
God.
manager would know not to wipe everything because that looks bad.
The website's literally just a black screen, and it says the same thing that it does on Instagram, and it's like the most janky looking website.
Oh.
I wish I could share this with y'all. It's like,
well, we'll take a screenshot and throw it up there.
it's just a big black screen, and then like halfway, no, it's like 3/4 of the way down, it just turns white. So like it's not even the.
It's like they took a screenshot of their own post and put it up as the background, like a desktop saver.
Honestly?
or whatever.
Maybe it's a publicity thing. I say that about everything, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, what? We're all
What, they're
talking
gonna-
about it. It's a
What,
big
on
deal.
Friday they're gonna-
But it's not a good
Look,
thing. We're not
guys.
talking about it good. It's like one of those. What's that like concept? Is like any publicity is good publicity.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's not.
There
It's
is
not,
no bad
that's not
press.
the case. That's not true.
I don't
This is good press.
all press is good press. It's like, no, sometimes, you know,
Is it
ask
though?
Morgan Wallen.
Well, ask Morgan Wallen also. Well, yeah, you know, he's survived many a scandal before. God
is
forbid he
true.
cancels a show. Cancels a show.
Okay, like also on that note, like out of all the things that everyone's pissed off about, like that's the one. Like
Yeah, that's true.
all
Yeah.
of the ones they could have chosen.
I have to say, like, as I get older and like go to more festivals and shows, and like over the years, especially like COVID, I think like I kind of just got in this mindset where it's like you have to be prepared at all times now that like any show can be canceled at any time. Like that's just since COVID,
Which is
like,
why I
just-
haven't
yeah.
bought tickets to anything, really.
So, like, I mean, if it's obviously like all COVID ones, stuff like that got like refunded, and like I don't know what they're doing with Bamboozle. I assume those people are getting refunded. And
Yeah,
They have
it
to
said-
request the
Well, yeah.
refunds. It's not even like
Which I
you
kind
just
of-
automatically get. It's like
Yeah,
you
you
have
have
to
I
to
request
kind
it.
of
I had to
understand
do
that. Just as someone who's had to refund things manually before, you can't just press a button and send everyone their money back. But
It is easy though. Like during COVID, I had to request money back for Halsey tickets, for the My Chem tickets, for Taylor Swift tickets. Like, yeah,
before
like,
COVID,
when we had tickets.
Oh,
And-
I just
yeah.
kept mine.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if I'd be in LA or Boston
Fair.
at the time,
Oh,
so
yeah, no,
I
that's
ended up
fair.
refunding them. And yeah, you literally just had to like click a button and be like, "Yeah, I want my refund." So it wasn't that hard. So people always complain. Like, I mean, we get it too on our end when we've had shows for our bands that have been canceled, and they're like, "I never got a refund." It's like,
It's not us.
It's
That's not our
really
fault.
simple.
It's not us.
It's really easy. Yeah, it's not us. We don't control that where you bought your tickets to, and two, it's very easy to get your refund.
anyway, just checking the time.
Yeah.
Really quick before we have our guest Jeremy from Nicolas Rage join us for a very exciting conversation about mental health in the music scene. One more really fun thing that's going to have happened after we post this. Our announcements on Monday. This episode comes out the following Monday. Alisana is going back on tour. So, Trilogy Tour Part 2, June, August, November.
Yes.
A Place Where the Sun is Silent in full.
Yes.
If you listened to episode 5 or 6, you would have already known this, but we have actual dates out now.
Yes. And tickets and VIP are on sale. Yes. When you see this, not right now, but not when we're recording it, but when you see it.
yes. It's the first time in the 8. How old am I? 7, 6. In all the years that I've been touring, it's the first time ever that I'll be on tour on my birthday in November.
I was just really going to say that, and we're going to announce that Ben is going to be on tour while she's turning XYZ number.
Well, I don't care. I'm gonna be 29, but it's not till November. It's at the LA show is.
Are you really? I feel old
as
shit.
It's just me. I'm so young. I'm the baby. Anyway.
So those are available now. Exciting. What else is? Oh, and then all of the grunge covers are out for It's All Grunge Volume 1. So some revival things. I think we have. Do we have other things coming up? No.
I know of some things, but we can't announce it yet.
No, we could talk about.
Hey guys, we're back with You, Me, and the Scene podcast, brought to you by Revival Recordings, and we're being joined. We're joined by.
We are joined by.
We're being joined. We are joined by Jeremy from Nicolas Rage, who is one of our bands on our Revival, and you may have listened to their EP, Personal Party, which all of us are big fans of. So if you haven't listened to it, go stream it now.
Honestly, I am very passionate about that record. I love that record a lot.
Yes. Thank God. Yes. That's why we can buy our coffees now.
Yes. And Jeremy is joining us. When this comes out, it will be May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, which a lot of our artists and us as a label, like to put a focus on mental health throughout the whole year, not just during May, and kind of, highlight the connection between music and mental health, which I think we can all agree, whether we're fans listening and we get our dopamine that way, or if you're like Jeremy, who's writing it down and actually creating it, ways to express yourself.
From prescriptions. If you can't make your own serotonin, store-bought is fine.
We do what we gotta do here, okay?
Yeah, if you follow me on social media, I talk about all the stuff that's wrong with my brain all the time. And it's a big part of my life, and I'm really passionate about making sure that other people know that there is help and other options out there and other people that they can relate to. And I think Nicolas Rage's music is a great example of music you can relate to if you're having a bad brain time, I guess.
Bad brain time.
That's the next EP name right there.
Bad brain time. Yes.
Maybe we should title the episode that Bad Brain Time.
Bad Brain Time. It's early. It's a little early to have already dropped.
I don't know.
We always. Yeah.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah. You can't top that, I don't think. It just feels right.
I don't know. We have some good one-liners that come up sometimes.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
So yeah, like Amanda just said, I mean, Personal Party, I think is at least from all of ours as a fan view, focuses on mental health, and we kind of want to dive into that with you and your writing process and the vulnerability. I can't talk. Vulnerability.
You're still not saying it right.
Bad brain time.
That's that ADHD that can't pronounce words.
There you go.
Of like, expressing your emotions that way through music. So
as I think I'm trying to get the timeline right here. We started talking to y'all before the pandemic even, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was like 2018, around the end of 2018, I believe, or 2019, beginning of 2019. It was like right before.
Were these songs pre-pandemic songs?
No. They we wrote one of them was, I think, The Wrong Way. We had like the idea kind of floating around, but then no, we kind of got the juices kind of flowing as soon as we got signed, and as soon as we actually knew we were making a record, we jumped in. Started writing those songs, so they all kind of sparked and came out of nowhere, I guess. In a sense, we had older songs and stuff, but
yeah, that title makes a lot of sense if it's a pandemic baby, basically. Personal party
pandemic
makes sense.
pretty much.
Yeah, so when I signed on to Revival, you guys were already signed, or I don't know if we had announced you yet, at least, but
I think we were October when we got announced.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember because Kevin, I'm pretty sure Kevin was the one that showed me you guys.
He found us.
Yeah. I like immediately was like, oh my God, this is going to be a Revival band. I'm so excited. And every time we had an A&R meeting, I was like, do we have any news about Nicolas Rage? Are we still talking about Nicolas Rage? And then it finally happened, and I'm like, nice, thank God.
That's awesome. It's cool to hear, like, just behind the scenes, and like, because I obviously love all of you guys, and we're all in meetings together, so it's really nice to kind of hear that kind of like thing being said. So I appreciate that. It's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like Personal Party was probably the first full from beginning to release that I was involved in, because when I started we were kind of either at the end of some, or like you know they were already done with the thing. So I really liked that process of like working and doing all that with you guys, and it's a nice little memory that you guys were that like
we were your first
full, like yeah.
Well, that was our like first like EP too, so it was a big learning curve for all of us, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you wrote during COVID time, which obviously is a depressing time for all of us, but if you want to like
trauma.
Yeah. But also a lot of good, we've said this on a previous episode, like a lot of good music came out of that time that we're like, very thankful for, and musicians had the time to like actually sit there and work on their music. So
also all of the visuals that came with that record are really cool too. The music videos were really creative and really fun.
That was the first Poison Ivy. I cringe when I watch it.
This is just gonna
I love that one.
Me gushing about Nicolas Rage for an hour. That's the whole episode. But they are genuinely really cool music videos.
Thank you. We took on speaking of pandemic and like just what it like triggered so much from each member, and like what our capabilities are and what we had to learn to do. Mark did the visuals, a lot of them. He did all the like album artworks, and he just started doing that. So that was his first project with it. And then directing and like creating storyboards and stuff that was my first time doing it. So Poison Ivy, I went a little bit overboard with the idea, and I was like, we have $300, we can do this. And yeah, obviously the visual effects just kind of made it more kind of like lighthearted. We did what we could with it, but it didn't turn out the way I was hoping for in some aspects of it.
I still love it, but
yeah, a lot of people say that like it's like charming in its own way. So it's
sometimes
at least
the best
it's not
things come out of like the ones you don't have the most money in.
Yeah,
I'm curious
100%.
what you intended for. Not that I'm like asking you to fully critique your work or anything, but like what if
okay.
that wasn't what you wanted? And I mental health episode, yeah. I'm just curious what your vision was if it wasn't what came out and what ended up being so good.
I just think that there was a little bit of my own acting. Like it didn't come across the way I was like trying to, and I was a little nervous. There's people around. I never really done that before. So having to turn it on in every take was a little struggling for me. I was actually just going through a breakup of like 5 years too. Literally the next day we shot the music video. She like cheated on me with her ex, and then the next day we're like, hey, let's do it, boys. Yeah. So, and then I think a big part of the props and stuff like the poison ivy we went into like Michael's and bought like plastic leaves, and we bought a bag of moss. We glued it to my face, and I was like, yeah, that looks good. I think if I could have done it over again, I would have actually like, found a friend. Like we found a friend with like makeup artists and stuff. We just, it felt like I didn't really take enough time to actually reach out to the right people to help out. And I tried to do it all myself a little bit. And then it was our first time working with Adriel Rosenfeld, who's the director on that one. Well, me and him. And we both kind of butted heads a little bit in the moment just because it was the first time getting used to each other. And I honestly was like, I didn't know much about videography and stuff, but I was trying to like lead it a lot of the time. And he was like, I don't think that's going to work. And I probably should have listened to him. So, and then the very end shot, like I did like green face, like, like it just, I don't know. There's things about it where I'm like, I really wish we just like had someone to help with the special effects and stuff. But we had a limited budget, and, like I'm not bashing it. Like it's a memory. It's definitely fun. And it turned out like, lighthearted. And I think people still got the message of the song. And, but yeah, when you're invested in it and just like the stress and how long it took to shoot, because we could only shoot on weekends. Plus I was going through the breakup. It's just tied to all of that when I watch it, I just get flashbacks and triggers. Just like, oh God.
Is that the one where
struggling for your art?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got slapped. Like, oh dude, like I got slapped like 80 times. So like I got slapped by 3 people, and each one of them did like probably like 20 or 30 slaps. So because half the time they would laugh, and it was like, guys, stop laughing.
This is serious.
Yeah, like I need
352.
pretty much. Mark was pro. Mark was a professional because he was waiting to slap me for years. So
This is my time to shine.
Just straight from the elbow, right? And then I actually punched him in the face like a long time ago for a steak one time. I was like, I'll buy you a steak if you like. I was like, I'll buy you.
You mean?
Yeah. I told him I was like, I'd buy you a steak because he said he was hungry or something, but we were wasted. I was like, I'll buy you a steak if you let me punch you in the face. He's like, okay.
Boys are weird.
Yeah.
Boys are weird.
I immediately I felt so bad.
My brain immediately went to like, oh man, is this some Canadian slang that I don't know? His steak means something else.
No, it's what it is. You want a steak pretty bad. But yeah, no, it took like probably each person 20 takes, and it was 3 different angles of the slap too. Like he wanted to make sure he had every single take like angle covered, and I was.
Are you sure it wasn't just after you butt heads and he's just like, yeah, slap this motherfucker again?
Part of it is probably that. No, we were still like homies. It wasn't that bad of buddy. I hope anyway. He has some deep-seated hate for me, I guess, secretly, but
he got it all out at the video shoot. It's fine.
Yeah. But one thing I'm proud of that video was the shirt changing montage kind of thing that happened.
That was what I was just thinking about. That's the image I think of when I think of that song. Is that image?
And I think we made it the canvas for that too. Didn't at least I cut one for that.
That I was really really stoked on that, and he had the I just wanted it like still frame, and he had the idea of like moving front and back so we could zoom in and stuff like that, and that was his idea to make it even better. And I got that idea from like Move Along by All American Rejects. Just he's going through life every single day as this like mundane life is terrible, and that was the idea for it. So kind of like living with like that itch of anxiety every single day kind of idea. So but I'm proud of that part. I should probably say I'm proud of something. So yeah, but I like the song too. That was one of our favorite songs. Right when we first dropped the EP, well, when we first submitted the songs, we didn't have that song yet, and I think we had another song in place of it. And then I randomly just was like, I feel like we need like another single. And then one day I started playing the riff and I started singing that Poison Ivy melody. And then it just like happened all one day. And then we jammed it, recorded it, like demo, done. And we're like, sweet, that's the song. So it was really fast.
That. That's so rock and roll.
Yeah. What do you think your favorite? What do you think your favorite song on the album is?
They all have like special like meanings to me because each song kind of relates to like how my anxiety or depression gets triggered in certain situations. So I was really like happy to be able to kind of get through a point in my life where I'm able to finally write about that, because I haven't actually been able to fully like write it out properly, and I've been trying to write about it for like seems like 10 years. Like, every song just never leads to how I want it to sound, and then finally just kind of making it through and being retrospective of like any situation now, and being able to get through my depression episodes a lot faster and anxiety episodes made it really easy for me to write, because now I have these solutions and things that like some more insight on it. But I my favorite song to play live is The Fight. I just love singing that one. Then I think my favorite song to listen to would be The Wrong Way. I really like how it kind of climaxes and gets bigger, and then the kind of like drop chorus and how it comes back in. I like just the arrangement of that one. I also like the danciness and the kind of happy vibe of the music for Embrace, but then you listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh my God, this is so sad.
Embrace is my favorite. Yeah.
A lot of people enjoyed that one, so I was excited about that.
I think that's even currently on my on repeat playlist, actually.
Awesome.
So you said you wrote The Wrong Way first. Is that correct?
The Wrong Way wasn't actually finished first, but the idea was like floating around.
And so did you already have this idea that you wanted the EP to focus on like those mental struggles, or did it just kind of flesh out that way once you started writing more? Or
the whole idea was kind of these high energy like instrumentals, kind of like, and then the lyrics being like the thoughts in my head. So like kind of living through every day as like everyone thinks I'm fine, everyone thinks I'm doing okay, but then like the actual thing I'm feeling is what I'm singing about. So that was kind of the whole premise of it. And then it kind of turned into like, well, how am I going to write about this? So I just took like kind of certain situations where Embrace is like about dating and just romantic stuff, and just like kind of like accepting that like I hate myself and I'm going to be this person and ruin relationships for the rest of my life. And all of them have like certain kind of like small meanings to it. So it kind of ended up turning into that, which was really cool. But it wasn't like a full out like fledged like plan every single part of it. I liked the beauty of like kind of like going into it with like a little bit of a premise, and then just like letting whatever happens happen. And that's what ended up making Personal Party, which was cool.
Yeah, I something that when we were talking about, we wanted to talk about in this episode, something that I kept thinking about, and we've kind of touched on in the intro, the vulnerability of displaying what you're struggling with publicly in art like that. Seems like it would be scary. Is that something, not to like plant that seed in your head or anything, but is that something you experience? Is that stressful at all?
It was for a long time. I think as we grow as a band, and as like with every message we get from random strangers across the world about how the music helps them, the more I really realize that like it does matter. So I think the scariest part about writing about your vulnerability is thinking no one's going to care about it. Does that make sense? So it's like, it's kind of like, in a way, like I go to someone and tell them, okay, I'm like dying inside, and they look at you and say like, I don't give a fuck. So that's kind of how it feels when you write about your mental health. And then if people don't care about it, then it's like, well, like I've spent all this time being brave and trying, and it didn't matter. So that's a bit of what scares you. But then when you start to realize like people are actually kind of, vibing with it, and then you can tell your story and be like, that was hard to do. It was hard to kind of step into that role and do it. But like, I think anyone can do it. And I think no matter what, if the right people hear your stuff, people are going to resonate with it. So that's where I'm happy we did it, because now it's like gives me some sort of voice for even other artists to kind of be able to do it and understand that they can do that too. So it was definitely scary, but I guess right now it's not as scary. I'm actually more excited to talk more about it, especially getting past that first couple singles and then this EP.
And I feel like you also, not that it was like validation, because I like to think musicians write and put that out there for themselves, but you definitely had a lot of fans reach out throughout, the singles and the EP being released directly to you, that I know we've talked about, that you like talking to and having those relationships with, that kind of go through the same thing. So that was probably more like, okay, like it's reaching people and like meaning something. So I know
Yeah, definitely makes it feel like way more like it matters even to yourself. It is a bit of a validation thing for sure. But like everyone wants their feelings to be validated. I think that's like a big part of what can help a lot of mental health issues in some cases is like we just kind of want to be heard and feel validated for feeling a little crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me a little bit. Yeah, no, we've had like, I think actually there's one time I don't know if I should tell the story, but I'm going to.
We can take it on if you want me to.
Later, let us know.
Just let me know.
Tim and I were actually at there's a fan that reached out to us about our lyrics and stuff a few weeks before this, and he was talking to me like every day, just saying how much he loves the songs and laugh and everything. And Tim and I were at a bar one night, and we were just hanging out drinking, and then this guy just like completely unloaded. Like he's like, I need to talk to you about something. And I was like, go for it, dude. I didn't expect what he was going to say, but he's basically saying like, I'm homeless, I'm about to die, and like all of this other crazy stuff. And then like that like moment was like cool. Like this guy like trusted us with that. No, like, you know, he came to us to kind of feel comfortable and stuff. So right away, Tim and I hopped on Instagram and just like called him, and we were like just talking with this guy, and he started crying, and ever since then we've been like checking in on him. We talk to him like all the time, and I love that side of why we do it in like this genre of music and like how much it means to people. And I think it's so important for artists to like not brush over that and actually kind of take care of the people who actually they're taking care of us too, you know. It's like this synchronicity, I guess, where we help each other through things, because that helps us too to be able to help people. I think that's a big part of who I am. I love just being there for almost anyone, which is like almost a probably like people pleasing kind of situation, but it still fuels me when it's like in a good way like that.
I feel like it could be heavy though sometimes, having that
I was just
role.
going to say that.
Yeah, I think actually we were talking to, I don't know if I should say his name yet because we're working with someone, but we were talking about a little bit of a plan for the next release, and something we wanted to do was like create a platform for people to kind of come and talk and get resources for mental health and like therapies and therapy sessions and stuff like that. And then this person we were talking to was kind of like, yeah, this band did that too, like his band. And he was like, kind of like, be careful, just because like right now it's easy to maintain and like manage. But like when you get to a point when there's like hundreds or thousands of people like relying on you and stuff, like that's really heavy on you. And he's like, I saw my singer go through it, and I just wanted to like let you guys know you got to tread lightly in that kind of area, because you can't help everyone all at once kind of idea. So I can definitely see it getting hard for sure, but right now it's kind of easy to be there for like the few people who are kind of coming to us in dark moments.
For sure.
Yeah.
So with Personal Party, obviously you focused on, you know, your mental health struggles, and you are happy to say you're in a happier place. So do you feel like future music is gonna still incorporate those themes and those struggles? Or I know we can say working on music, everybody's always working on music, so Nicolas Rage is working. If that's kind of what you're incorporating for the next chapter, or I'm still there with my writing. I still have a lot to say about things I've gone through. So the next EP is kind of visiting. So Personal Party was kind of like where I am now and like what I go through on a daily basis. The next body of work is more so going to like childhood trauma and where things have stemmed from. That was the idea. Whether it's that at the end, we're not sure, but we'll see. We have to write more music, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens from there. But that was the idea, and we're still kind of working on it. We'll see if it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet, because I don't know what I could say. So,
that's fair.
I'm still kind of we basically have to write some more. We thought we had like the body of work, and it just came down to, you know, maybe we should write some like a new body of work to compare or pick from, and then take the best songs from each body and make just one really good EP. So,
and then
but I
when
think
you guys blow
go ahead.
up, and years from now, you can do what Taylor Swift did and just like
Oh
throw
my
in
gosh.
all the songs that weren't put out during different eras. There you go.
All right, we already
You always
sang
trying
we're
to
all in
bring
this
in
together.
Taylor
She brought up Taylor Swift.
Gosh.
We got to talk about assless chaps at some point.
I gotta
hit all three of them.
I have to put $1 in the Taylor Swift jar.
But yeah, and I'm glad. It's good to hear that you're in a better place now, and I think it's an I don't know if useful skill is the right word, but it's something I have a lot of respect for, is being able to look back on the not so great brain times and be able to visit and sit with it and do something creative with it, and then be able to leave it there and go back and still be having a better time.
Yeah, I'm still like, it's not over. Like, I think it's something that, and like, I'm sure all of you, like, or whoever is dealing with, like, especially you, Amanda, have been very open about your own mental health, but I feel like it's this cycle that happens all the time. And like, you'll kind of go through a really dark period and you get a little bit better. You think about what you went through and how you've handled it, and you change, and it just keeps doing this like loop. And like right now, I'm still like, I'm feeling better. I'm going to a better place, and I'm kind of like mastering a lot of things that I wasn't able to, which is really good. But it still comes up. Like, I mean, I'm in a good place because I'm like back home with my family. I have a girlfriend now, and like going to the gym, feeling healthy. But like, you know, in all those good times, I'm still kind of being triggered by like bad times. You know, it's like everything's kind of good, but I still find a way to be like, oh, she's gonna leave me, or oh, I don't look good enough, or oh, like I'm not doing anything in my life. Like, it still kind of happens, but it's definitely like something I'm able to kind of like work through. And like, I don't think I've ever felt like I was able to see an end to it, even when I was like getting better in the past and stuff. Now it's like, no, I really want to like change that. I want to be able to get past this and like make it through it. So, and I'm excited to work on it, which is a really new feeling.
Yeah, that's always that's something that I say a lot. Like, when I was in the process of finding a new therapist, because I'm back in therapy for the first time, in talk therapy for the first time in a very long time, and it was such a weird feeling to be like, oh, I'm excited to talk to somebody. I'm excited to equip myself with things, and I'm not afraid to go like rip off a Band-Aid and dig around in there and figure some shit out. I feel confident that I can handle that now, and that's a big step.
Yeah, and that's a good place to be. Yeah,
I think that comes with age too. Like, I feel like all of us at a younger point, we just didn't know how to handle it. I think we're more aware when we're going on that loop, when it's circling back around to that time. Not that it makes it any easier, but we're more have more resources and like understanding of where
experience
where our bad brain time is going. So
there's a line in a parquet it's Parquet Courts, right? I worked with them once, I should know this. The band is called Parquet Courts. The song is Human Performance, which I'll bring up later for Song of the Week. I have a better Song of the Week now.
Band name. It's a sick band. I mean, that's a sick song name. Oh my god.
But there's a line in it it doesn't leave, it just visits less often. And that is,
I'm writing that song down. That's like a perfect explanation right there.
It's a really good, it's ultimately a sad song, but the full line is, it never leaves, it just visits less often. Something I won't feel its grip soften until the coffin, which is darker than I interpret the lyrics at this point in my life, but you know.
But it's more about like hearing that like first line kind of for me, even just right now, just being like, oh, it's not just me that happens to, which is a really good feeling. What was the name of that song again?
Human Performance.
Human Performance. I'm definitely checking that out. Thank you.
There's another song on that record that has my old Jeep's horn in it, because I was interning at the studio that they recorded it at. So
I'll listen for the horn. Amazing. No, it's cool. But yeah, I kind of circle back to like what Courtney was saying, like age, and like I think experience too is a big part of it too. Like I now know like how, if I don't tell people when I'm feeling a low point, how I'm going to come across to them and how I'm going to react to them coming across to me the way, like, you know what I mean? Like I'll be like super low and then they'll know something's off. And then it just like sparks like arguments, or it sparks like something that makes it worse, or it sparks just pity or something. So instead I'll kind of like let people know now, like a lot easier, which is good. I'll be like, hey, like even the band, we've been growing together for like 5 years, and not one of us was afraid now to pop in the chat and be like, hey guys, like I'm not in a good place right now, so can't come on the call today. Or we'll be like, hey, let's just get on the call and just talk if you want. And it's like, no, I need some space. But that experience of being able to do that, I think, helps, and everyone knows what they kind of need at this point now, because we are a little older. We all kind of go through it, and I think that's why the band works so well together, because we all have like collectively so much experience with like mental health issues and stuff, and we've all been there together through it. A lot of our hardest moments in life, we've been like with each other. And like half the time at band practice, like it was like jam, and we'd sit on the couch and talk about like our mental health together. That was like kind of our therapy, which is really good too. So it's like finding those people that are right for you as well, that help lift you. Yeah.
That's such a wholesome like bro moment.
I think like
That's a
open
great support system.
Yeah. Like having a support system, being open and communicative with people. I think it's a big thing. Like a lot of people don't know or don't see how important just simply saying something is.
100%. And sorry, keep going.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
I'm done.
I was kind of I didn't need to, I was kind of going on like, there's also like, it's not that there's wrong company, but there's also like some people that just don't experience it. And I think when you surround yourself with like people going through similar situations and like kind of deal with it in a similar way, like I said, the band, like we all kind of do it in the same way, and we figure out how to talk to each other about it, and we know we're each other's support system. And I think that's when it gets like a lot easier too, because we all come from a point of understanding. And sometimes when you talk to even just like a close friend that just doesn't really go through mental health issues, it's like they're there for you and you love that and you know that, but like it makes it hard to even say something to them, because you're like, I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable because they don't know what to say or anything. So sometimes that can be hard. But when you kind of surround yourself with like your friends that are kind of trying to get out of it as well, but they also understand how it feels, it just feels a lot more at home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just something about those, like one thing I do miss about Edmonton is our like little after session couch chats and stuff like that. So like it was one of the most therapeutic things. It's very nice.
Yeah, and I think like you said, like vocalizing it and like being able to communicate it. I have like one of my best friends. We've been best friends since like the first grade, and like one of those friends where like we won't see each other for like a year, but we're still like, and you know, so she's known me almost my entire life, and it was like 2 years ago, 2021, we did a cross-country road trip, and I was having like a lot of anxiety, and she's like, well, do you want help? And I just go, you know, like I'm having a lot of anxiety, and like it's gonna turn into frustration, and I don't want to take it out on you, so it's like, it's okay, I'll just handle it myself, but I just don't want to get mad at you and like make you feel bad. And like that was the first time, because she doesn't really deal with like mental health issues, and like when I was younger, like I burst out in anger because I was having so much anxiety. So like you know, she's always known like that, and she's like, and the next day she was like, oh, like that's the first time I've ever heard you like say it,
explain it and say it,
and like not just like get annoyed. And I'm like, well, because I know I'm getting to that point, so it's like being able to just understand that. And I mean, in relationships and stuff, I'm very like that with my boyfriend. I'm like, go play video games, I just need to sit here and like be angry for 5 minutes, okay? Like just
go ahead, go play a video game.
I'm like it's not you, I just want you to know that, but just like let me do me in this room for just this amount of time. And knowing that, instead of like all of a sudden just like acting out, and like, because I mean, as most of us know, like our anxiety can come out as like frustration or anger, and it gets taken out. And so I think that's important and a thing.
Even communicating with like my parents now, it's like you know, knowing me my whole life, they know when I'm getting into a headspace. They can recognize behaviors in me, and I can recognize behaviors in me when things aren't great, and it makes our communication a lot better too. It's just all relationships, not just like partner relationships.
That's, I think, that experience, that age thing, because I never used to do that. Like when I was younger, I used to just kind of dwell in it by myself, and then I would lash out or be kind of like, or just cut myself off from everything. And people would be like, why don't you hang out with me? Why didn't you show up? Like, why didn't? And it's like, now it's just so much easier to be like, hey guys, like I'm just not having a good time right now. So I apologize if something so-and-so or whatever. And most people like understand, or they'll be like, hey man, like I'm going to come just to you, or I want to call you or something like that. So it's communication's huge with it. And I think that's why it's important that we're doing this right now, like talking about it as well. That's part of that.
Yeah, the open talking, and I think especially in a public way, in a public forum, and I know like mental health just over, even like the past 3 years since COVID, a few years before that has just been talked about more and more. I mean, our scene has always talked about it. Our scene's always been, and that's what you were saying, Jeremy, about feeling like validated. It's like we gravitated towards the music we listen to and the bands we love because those lyrics related to us and what we were going through. So, it's kind of always been what we've been through, but a lot more, you see it going through other aspects of like entertainment and other genres and stuff. So, and just on a bigger platform than just us.
I think I like the direction the scene is going mental health wise as well. Like obviously the lyrics have always been there, but I think generally people are more open, like we've been saying, and more understanding of. I've seen more musicians say like, hey, I'm stepping back from this project, or I'm not going on this tour because I'm having a hard time. I have to deal with this mental health issue, addiction issue, whatever it is. And people, we kind of touched on it earlier about Morgan Wallen not having understanding fans. But I think fan bases and musicians are all just collectively acknowledging that this is a huge part of it and it's an important part of it. You can't just sing about it. You have to actually take care of it in yourself. So that's
and it's good. Like as a community, everyone doing their job with that understanding, and the talking about it is what's helping people actually understand, which that's like, I think one of the biggest things is when you are low and like you don't understand why it's even there. So it's like, how do I even say that to someone? Like, how do I expect them to understand it when I don't even understand it really? But now that it's getting to a point where people are just like, no, like you don't need to say anymore. Take time, take care of yourself. And that's the proper response to that. Even the label, like when I was going back home, I was like, I'm not in a good place. I need to go home. And like I think I was on the phone with Kevin and he was just like, dude, like, yes, like take care of yourself. And like, that was like one of the, that's why I loved Revival from the beginning. It's like, I get that general sense of like, you guys care about your artists. And in that moment, it was like, yeah, that's like 100% what this is. It's like a relationship and it means something to both sides for me to be getting better. And that meant a lot to me. And even like I was on the phone, I think last week you with Sean, and it was like about other stuff, but it was like so supportive and like it just there's no push, there's no like we need songs now, I don't care if they're done yet. It's like, no, take your time, like write your art, like we trust you. It's just like it's a beautiful thing. And being able to let me do that was a huge thank you from me, please. Like
well, if anybody understands taking time with their art, it is Sean. So
ask all the Alisana fans, they will tell you.
Where's the new album?
I've been involved with Revival since I was 20, and I'm going to be turning 29 in November. And I basically like grew up with this crowd, and they've seen me through some rough stuff, and we're all closer for it. So
and I think
the wonderful
where smaller labels kind of you get that, like, not to push like everybody needs an indie label, but but you kind of get that, like support, because I mean we're only a team of 10 of us at this point, and that's the extent of our team. So you do have that access to like talk to us and like reach out. that you might not get in other like lanes,
well,
labels. So
I think it's important because it's like your success and our success kind of go hand in hand at that stage. And like bigger labels, like, no, we're already successful. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have the bands that make us successful already and stuff. And, you know, I understand that business side of it and everything. And there's no bashing that at all. But that would not be the place for our band right now. And that's why we're really happy that we ended up on this label. So it just
not to say that we don't want to grow. Having that growth would be awesome. But like,
we want to be the guys that bring you there. You know what I mean? That'd be an amazing feeling. You know, we could be your baby, you know, like your favorites, if you will. That's
there it is.
I'm baby. That's
Nicolas
the title.
Rage.
I'm the baby. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely. I always say this. It's like it is business. Especially when you're in an industry like this, it's always business. But like, it's also just not that hard to just care. It's a very easy thing to like care about other people. I mean, we see that across many facets. I mean, we see it across social. I'll see things on social media and I'm like, it is so easy to just not be a dick.
Yeah.
It like,
I don't know, I am kind of a dick, so I'm not gonna...
But like, you don't just go on like people's social, because like if we're talking about mental health, like social media plays into that, especially musicians and stuff. Right. I feel like a lot of that. I mean, a lot of celebrities and stuff. Like there are some that don't have social media, even though they're huge celebrities, or have their comments permanently turned off and things like that. Because it's just like
there's really, some people that say the worst things.
It is so easy to not go and comment some trash. Like
from my point of view on that, there was like, I think we released the Naked Grape video, and some Kyle dude, I don't know, someone was just
Kyle.
He was just like, my 4-year-old threw up Fruit Loops that sounded better than this video or looked better than this video or something.
I remember that.
I remember Courtney, you were so mad. I was like, it's okay. But I felt like you were my big sister there, and I was like, oh, Courtney's the best.
It's just like, it's so easy.
Hey, that's
to
creative,
just be
at
a
least.
Decent person.
Like, he thought about that.
Yeah, I was kind of like, good diss, man. But no, but then you start thinking like, people are so sad, and I don't think anyone just willingly does that. Because they're like, some people do. Some people are like, I want to make people feel bad today. Like, there's some people like that, but
choosing violence.
That's a lot of people. I don't think there's a lot of people, but there are some people who are literally just having a miserable life, and they just want to project it. And I don't know if they can help it. I don't know if it's on purpose. Well, to hurt people, like, it's hard to tell what they're going through too. So I can't remember what artist it was. I saw like a story of like a guy who was just like, some guy was trolling him for a while, and he just messaged him. He's like, "Are you okay?" Like,
I think it was John Mayer did that.
Yeah,
of course, Courtney knows John Mayer.
I'm counting this towards the Taylor Swift jar.
Same thing.
God damn it! But he like messaged him and was just like, "Buddy, like, do you need help?" And the dude's like, "I just didn't think you'd ever see the comment." And a lot of people respond like that when like celebrities respond and are like, what the hell? They're like, oh, I didn't think you saw this. And it's like, it's on a public platform. Everybody's seeing it.
Hey, to be fair, I remember how I said the jokes write themselves. Yeah. I can also say that about John Mayer. But I'm not going to go out of my way to bully John Mayer. Is all.
That's what I'm saying. Going out of your way, I think is... I mean, we've all grown up on social media. We, like, our generation went and started with the MySpace and went all the way through we've talked about this, the Facebook, the Twitter, the internet. Yes, like we've gone through, more. I remember
Formspring
when, Formspring and Ask FM, and like I remember. Because, like, I had a hard time in high school, and, like, my friends would make it, and I was like, I am not doing that to myself. Like, I refuse to make one. I'm like, so the people that are being mean to me can be even more mean to me and anonymous? Like, no. So, it's sometimes, like, you don't have to put yourself in those positions, but we grew up in a weird time with those, like, the access to those things. And just like it was the norm. It was very
You're
weird.
not wrong.
Like anonymous bullying, which is what comments and like spam accounts are now. So
I had like not really anonymous bullying, but it was like MSN, and like some random girl would be like, "Do you think you're hot or something?" and just make fun of me. And then we'd go to school, and she would just pretend like it never happened.
Like, I
and
pictured rocket power.
What the hell is this?
But I
Like,
was
what are these mind games?
Yeah, I was
it was just
like, what the heck,
it was
man?
the
Like, you just
same.
bullied me for like an hour, and I like cried. And now we're at school, and you're just like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, what?
well, see, the thing, like, from that, it's like those were when we were younger, and then sometimes I see some of the things that people will write on other people's
She
things,
says, wiping
and I'm
a
like,
tear away.
I would never. I keep all my social media private. I'm not public at all because I can't. I know I can't mentally handle that. If one person said one mean thing to me, like I'd be like, no, because I mean, like I'd get over it, but I'd just be like, why? And I think like sometimes I'll look at people's profiles like on random posts they're saying things, and I'm like, you are too old. You are too old to be doing this.
I always like go to the comment. Why do we go to the comment section? Like, I always do that too. I'll like see something. I'm like, oh, people for sure said mean things to this, and I'll like go like, I'm right. There are all these mean comments that like,
or like
makes me mad.
To
see a tweet and all the quote tweets are popping off, but the responses aren't.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like we see just like I think it's just there's not that many trolls and like mean people. I think it's just they're the only ones really saying things.
They're the loudest.
Yeah, it's like Yelp.
Nice people, like but like nice people just scroll past everything. You know, like passive people.
Like,
but if more passive and nice people would just comment, like we would weigh all of the mean comments. I think. So maybe we should just try to like make that a norm, like a new norm. Just like you like a video, say like I liked this video. You're beautiful.
Positive engagement.
Let's change it.
All right, so we just as usual went off topic a lot, but we had some good conversations about mental health. The Revival social medias, usually throughout May, which I run, so I know they will be, post a lot of resources, especially for people who work in the music industry, musicians, and things like that. And I mean, you don't have to be a musician to reach out and get help if you feel like that's, we've all been there and we understand. And it helps to go talk. And so if you need any of those resources, we will also post them on the Yumi and the Scene sites, and
send them my way too.
Definitely,
I'll post them on the Rage page as well.
Awesome. So we so look out for those. We'll post them in the little descriptions of the videos along with our socials.
We ready to do Song of the Week?
Yes, we are. If everybody has their Song of the Week.
I could go first because I already mentioned mine earlier in the podcast. Human Performance by Parquet Courts. I think it's Parquet Courts. I was frantically Googling that I pronounced that band name right when while we were actually having kind of a serious conversation earlier, and I was hoping nobody noticed, but it was probably very obvious. But yeah.
I have my Song of the Week.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Go for it.
Do it.
Martyr by Polaris. Martyr in brackets Waves by Polaris.
Ooh.
That's my gym pump up song. Gets me going. It's great.
Love it. I am going to do Anxiety by Julia Michaels. I feel like it fits into the mental health, and that is a jam.
It's a little on the nose.
It is, but it's a good song. So
I'm kind of realizing mine is also on the nose in that
mine may be. I don't know.
Well, Haley, you go first, and then I get to say the thing.
What the thing? Oh yes, I was like, what thing? But then, I'm going to pick "Only the Lonely Survive" by Mariana Stringe.
Ooh.
Also fellow Canadians.
Yes. Yes, I've seen them at K-Days here a couple times.
I've seen them a couple times. They're always put on a great show.
And mine
Bring us home, E.
Oh my god.
Yeah, don't interrupt before the last line gets said.
Bring us home, E.
Millennium just came out. If anyone knows, Millennium's my favorite artist. And he just sampled Bring Me the Horizon's Drown to come out with his own Drown, except it's spelled DRWN, and that is also about mental health. So loving that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know I love a good Bring Me the Horizon throw in.
Mm-hmm.
I will also, side note, at emo night the other night, E was DJing and we were on stage and Travis from We the Kings played Throne by Bring Me the Horizon. Why was nobody else singing? I was angry. I literally was sitting there and I was looking around. I'm like, what? Why is nobody else on this vibe?
She was thrown out.
Oh,
Jeremy, do you have anything else you want to plug before we wrap up?
I have
his
nothing
brain,
left
his
to
brain
say.
can't work right now.
And with that being said, it's gonna be May.
Oh wow.
That is true.
True.
That is
It's good to be May.
It's
I
gonna
get it.
be
I get it.
Stream
That's
personal
awesome.
party. Follow Nicolas Rage.
Yes.
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 We need to eat. We haven't eaten in months, so if you could listen to my music, please. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jeremy, and we'd love to have you again in the future, and
Of course.
especially when we finally get some new Nicolas Rage stuff.
Mhm.
We don't have a time, don't ask, but
Don't ask.
Don't you dare comment about it.
2028. No.
But yeah, so thank you for joining us for episode 8, and we will talk to you all on the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the You, Me, and the Scene podcast. New episodes are released every other Monday.